This took me quite a while, but I'm really excited. In today's video, we are going to unlock Raphael through the fragment summon. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. But first, before we dive in, we have a quick word that I wanted to go ahead and get across. Download and get started today on a brand new account for Raid Shadow Legends using my code down below in the description. You'll help me out tremendously and I greatly appreciate it. And when you do, you'll get access to Elenaril the Legendary at the sign up. You'll also get Uugo, an Epic champion at level 10, Lightsworn, another Epic at level 20, and Tagoar, an Epic at level 30. You also can use Desert Queen to unlock the Legendary two-hander rock. Get started today and get over $200 worth of free goodies, and it helps me out again tremendously, so I greatly appreciate it. And with that mega boost, you guys can get started on your journey today. And again, it does tremendously help me out when you guys do sign up. So I thank you so much and I really appreciate it. All right, so Raphael was available through a ongoing event. He was also available in summons and stuff, but I wasn't lucky enough to get him there. I did try, so unfortunate. But we did finish the Hothead Deck of Fate, and it literally took me all the way to the final card, which, man, this event ended today, so I was really excited about that. But if you want to get the TMNT characters, make sure you get started now because the collab is close to finishing, but at the bare minimum, you can get a fully boosted, super stacked Michelangelo through the login bonus, so make sure you start now. In fact, I was in and out with my own availability and unfortunately missed out on getting the super souls for him, so it is what it is. But anyway, let's flip this last card in the Deck of Fate and see what happens. All right, those are the last three fragments. We got one final treasure chest, and with that, we have completed the first ever Deck of Fate. Completed my first ever, Deck of Fate. I have actually never completed one of these before. I've gotten about halfway through, but have I ever completed one of those? All right, so let's go through and unlock Raphael, my second turtle. Hopefully I can get my namesake Donatello. That'd be really cool. My name is not Donatello. It's literally just Donnie, but they call him Donnie, certainly in the game also. All right, let's go. Let's go. We also unlocked them at a great time because they've got the champion chase going on, so that's pretty great. I'm sure they lined that up like that on purpose, of course. But we got 500 points for unlocking Raphael. So for the rest of the video, we're going to talk all about him and what makes him solid and what you guys can do with him overall. Hope you guys enjoy. Hit that thumbs up. Let's get this video to a 100 likes. It's quick, it's easy, it's free, and it helps me, so make sure you do hit that thumbs up. So let's go over a brief breakdown of Raphael's kit, and we'll also talk about some of the things you can do for him. Increases allies attack in all battles with the aura skill. The first skill here, attacks one enemy 2 times, places a block revive debuff if the target is killed. Each critical hit fills this champion's turn meter by 10%. So extremely strong ability with the block revive there. If he is able to target a reviving character or a character that is extremely strong on a team with a reviver, that is a very powerful skill, of course. Doesn't really need much explanation. Attacks all enemies will ignore shields and block damage buffs if attacking under a berserk debuff placed by this champion. If this champion is not under a berserk debuff placed by themselves, the damage inflicted against enemies under shield buffs is further increased by 50%. Each critical hit fills this champion's turn meter by another 10%. So you're seeing that in here. Critical hits are increasing his turn meter so he can get going faster, of course, but he's able to ignore shields and block damage. He's going to hit through all that and do a ton of damage, especially if he's not under a berserk debuff that was placed by themselves. So very strong. This last skill here, well, last couple, because there's another one in there. Attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit will ignore 20% of the target's defense. Places a perfect veil buff and an unkillable buff on this champion for 2 turns if that target is killed. If the target survives, however, you get a berserk debuff on this champion for 2 turns instead. This debuff cannot be resisted or blocked. So berserk goes on him, and let's see what berserk does specifically. We saw some callouts to it on the last one, but this is where there's a little bit of give and take in his kit, but overall, I think still an extremely strong character. Increases the damage inflicted and damage received. So he gets a buff, but he also takes 50% more damage. So you have to be careful with that. However, with that other ability, again, if he doesn't have the berserk, he will just get the 50 bonus anyway, right? Against enemies under shields. So moving on from that, again, so if he's able to kill the character, he gets the buffs. But if not, he gets Berserk, which is also technically a buff, but it debuffs him too. All right, so this is the fun part. So whenever Leo, Donnie, Michelangelo, or Raphael attack, this champion will join in an attack. So it's pretty funny they call out to Raphael, but that just works because you can have multiple Raphaels. So... Could you imagine that? Places a Berserk debuff on this champion for 1 turn whenever any champion dies. So he's by default going to have Berserk quite a bit. Has a 20% chance of granting an extra turn when attacking under the Berserk debuff placed by this champion. So the good news is he's got a lot of turn meter. So the playstyle for this guy is he's going to pretty much get Berserk pretty consistently as you're defeating enemies. But he will increase his turn meter on those crits. And then also, if he attacks, there's a 20% chance of him granting an extra turn. So he can keep on going and just snowball. That's the idea with him. But overall, I don't think he's the best beginner champion. I think Michelangelo is far and away a better champion for beginners. I also think because he wants the other turtles on your team, he can be a little bit tricky to try to use if you don't have as many of them. There's no synergy with him and Shredder. There's no synergy with him and April. So he's kind of clunky. But again, if you do have Michelangelo, which you will get for starting off, I think you can make something happen there. I think he's probably, in my opinion, one of the least priorities of these guys, but I couldn't pass him up. Oh my God, the pizza's hilarious. I couldn't pass him up, right? So, especially because I haven't had a chance to unlock the others, and I was like, these are limited characters. I don't know when they'll come back, all that stuff. I don't have like I mentioned previously, the best stuff on all my characters, so I'm definitely still in that mid-game myself, still have a lot of min-maxing to do, etc. So for what I can say on him, let's pull up Hell Hades, but I want to go ahead and talk about what he does well in terms of artifacts and stuff. So he's got a pretty standard optimal build per Hell Hades, but that's pretty much what I had in mind anyway. But you want to focus on his speed so he can get out there and get going. But attack, critical damage, critical rate, those are going to be the primary stats that you're looking for. And so if you can drive that further with the artifacts, that'd be great. Sets like lethal, savage, cruel, merciless, speed. Again, this is pretty cookie cutter stuff though. It's nothing crazy, just pretty standard sets for a DPS character like him, grabbing lethal or savage and then cruel, merciless, and speed overall. But again, focusing on those, it doesn't matter what content you're taking on, either PvE or P, then you can put on those same sets for him and do something with that. But again, primarily you want speed, attack percentage, and the crit rates and crit damages. Whenever I have a champion like that, though, I also personally like to sometimes try to sneak in Instinct if I can. That's one of my favorite stats overall because it ignores some of the defense on the enemy, so that could be something you can try to do. If you don't have enough speed, you can also try Divine Speed. There's a few other things you can do, and I also would like to maybe test out the set that gives him extra turn, potentially. That could be fun, too. He probably won't sneak in as much or enough damage if you try that, though, so just some gimmicky stuff that you could potentially try. Now, if you happen to get the souls on him, that's where things get a little bit fun. But again, this is something most people are not really going to have access to. But if you happen to get souls on him, you could put on Heaven Cast. I think that's a good one for him overall. It's right here. So increase the damage inflicted by this champion according to the number of buffs on them. Doesn't increase the damage from poison, HP burn, or bombs. And then otherwise, there's some other standard DPS ones like Crushing Rend you can put on. That would be really good. Where's it at? Right there. Crushing Rend is a pretty standard DPS one that's on a lot of characters. So he's nothing crazy. I think he's solid. I just think the other turtles are better, but he can still do what he wants to do out there, which is the most important thing overall. But above all else, I am super excited about unlocking him. Hopefully I'm on pace to get April. I've just been going and completing this where I can. Jeez, 690 out of 1500 is kind of, I feel like I'm far away. Hopefully we're on pace to get April, though. I will come back and do a video on that at some point just to cover that a bit more. But if you've started playing the game, let me know how you guys feel about it, how you're enjoying it, etc. They do also have the boosted summons ongoing. I don't necessarily need this because we did pull a Shredder Super Soul, and we've already got Shredder. So the event just entirely for all of this right now is kind of irrelevant to me, thankfully. But I will open one Void Shard because we're here before we go. If we get a Shredder dupe, that'd be cool, I guess, but I doubt it. An Epic, what do we get? We got Ursula the Mourner. Who is she mourning? Increases ally speed in Doom Tower battles. Ooh, see you. She looks like she's got some manipulation stuffs too. Attacks all enemies, 75% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. Also in places an increase attack. Oh, she seems solid already. 40% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 10%. It can go up with the books, but she has a strengthen turn meter. Oh, she seems solid. I think she looks pretty good. Look at the rankings here too. She seems like she's going to be pretty good. Obviously in faction war, that's a no-brainer right there. She seems solid. Revives all... Oh, I didn't see it was revived too. Revives all dead allies with 75% of their HP. Then fills their turn meter by 50. Also places a 60% increased defense and strengthen. She seems really good. Actually, I'm curious about where Hell Hades is ranking her. They've got her as a 4-star overall, just like they do with Raphael. So 4 out of 5. And they've got her as a really good arena champion, which makes sense. She seems like she'd be a good arena champion as well. Overall, though, she seems kind of universal. She'd be good in pretty much anything. So good pull. I'm happy with that. Anyway, once again, make sure you do check out the game via the link down below in the description. Get the awesome rewards that I'm offering in my own personal link as well when you guys get started through the link in the description. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.